I'm delighted to be joined on VRP Rocks by a wonderful guitarist with some interesting stories to tell, and that's what we like to hear. Welcome to VRP Rocks, Brit Lightning.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here on the show, Brit. And let's start with the name, Brit Lightning. Now, obviously, Lightning is not your real surname. So where did it come from? Did you invent that yourself?
I did. So actually, when I was a little bit younger, I was playing Nintendo very close to the TV and there was a thunderstorm and lightning struck me through the TV. So that's where I first got the idea. And then I realized once I started my first band, it was called Jaded back in Boston, that I wanted to have an alter ego. I needed to, be somebody else to have the confidence to get on stage. So I was like Brit Lightning because lightning just encapsulates everything that I want to be in a guitar player: flashy, bright, exciting, fast, electric. So it fit.
What a fantastic story. And has lightning ever struck twice?
Luckily, knock on wood, I have not been struck by lightning again
That's a good
so
thing. That's
far.
a good thing. So famously, your love of rock and guitars and things like that started on a shopping trip with your mum when you heard Van Halen through the PA or the store radio or whatever it was. But tell us about your first taste of properly touring and playing on the road in a van with a band, because it came at really short notice, didn't it?
Yes, I was 17. I was in high school, and I had gone to, we had this store called Daddy's Junkie Music, which was a big music store in the Northeast United States at the time. And I had gone in there to buy an amp head because, even though I was mostly playing in my parents' living room, I felt as though I really needed a half stack. So I was testing out amp heads, and the store manager came over, and I was playing a lot of Metallica at the time. And he was like, wow, I have a band that sounds just like Metallica. It's very much similar to the style you're playing. And we just lost our guitar player, and we have a tour coming up like next week. Do you want to be our guitar player? And I was like, I didn't even think twice. I was just like, yep. And so I went home and I told my mom I'm going on tour. And she was like, what are you even talking about? I was like, it's fine. I'll still do my homework. I'm going to just take 2 weeks off. It's DIY in a van. It was all these, there were guys in like their like mid to late 20s, and I'm like 17. And so my parents were like, oh my God, but they knew, they were always very supportive, I have to say. They still are. But they just knew that I was so passionate about it, and that probably I'd just be mad at them forever, and it would strain our relationship. So they were like, fine, we know we raised you right. I'm sure you'll be fine. But I had to check in with them a lot. I had to have the X's on my hands, but we got in a van and we drove. It wasn't too far. It was from Boston. The furthest we went to was like Baltimore, Maryland. So a few states, but it was interesting to just be on the road. And
Hmm.
when I really played in front of people that weren't my friends and family, that was the first time I had done that, and got a positive reaction, I was like, I think I can really do this, like for a living, because these people think I'm good and they're clapping, and they have no reason to. It's not like they have to because we're related or anything like that. So maybe I have something here that I can pursue. And I also just loved that taste of being on the road and being free, and, driving and getting out of the van and seeing a new city every day. And, I like that lifestyle, that kind of nomadic lifestyle. I still enjoy that a lot, which I think you have to be a musician, because um the amount of time you spend on stage versus the travel time it
There's
takes
a
you to
lot of
get to the gig
traveling.
is
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, I've flown to Brazil for a 30-minute set and came back, and that was like getting to the airport early. Then you fly, you wait at the airport, you fly, then maybe 2 hours to get to the venue, and then you're back. And so it's about yeah, a day's worth of traveling for 30 minutes of a set, but it's all worth it, all for the name of rock and roll.
Oh, for the name of rock and roll, indeed. That's incredible stuff. And so when we talk about you playing and getting the taste for playing, you have actually played with lots of different styles of people, haven't you, coming through? And we talk about 18-time Grammy winner Alejandro Sanz, and then there's Rachel Platten and obviously Vixen and other rock stars as well. So how do you approach playing with different styles, and do you enjoy the variety?
I do. It's always, well, the Alejandro gig was a little nerve-wracking because that was also a last minute kind of situation I was thrown into. But they always say, uh luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So hopefully you are prepared for these situations that you're thrown into, and that's why life is presenting you with these things, right? So I had my doubts because it was a lot of like different types of jazzy advanced chords that were not common in metal and rock,
Hmm.
that I was playing at the time, and some flamenco inspirations, and I just work hard. So I can't go to bed at night if I have any doubts about what's going to happen the next day. So I'm a crammer, and I just do my best to always be prepared, because being in a band is like being on a team, and you never want to let another teammate down. You never want to be the reason that something goes wrong, that the song doesn't come out right, or that the break isn't clean. And you don't want to be that person ever. I think that always helps to motivate me too. Wanting to be good for everybody and for the fans, most importantly too. But playing different styles really just I think is a great thing. It helps you branch out. It's inspired some of my future works, like you just think in different scales or different terms, or even just learning any song. Sometimes when you hear a song, you don't realize what goes into it, and then when you break it down, you're like, oh wow, that bridge is so interesting. I never would have thought. I didn't realize that was the chord progression they used, and that's so music, you're continually learning. So the more you can learn and the more diverse you can be, the better off you are, just like in life.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's not something that's kind of contained either, because you can think of other people as well, likes of Nunu Betancourt, who obviously played with Rihanna as well, is
Right.
his amazing rock guitarist, and likes of Nita Strauss as well, who's gone from Alice Cooper to Demi Lovato and everyone else. So it's not something that should really confine you as a player or as a musician, is it?
No, no, yeah, yeah. You should just be open, be open to everything, and you'll grow as a person and a player.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a couple of times your metal influences and the sort of thing that you're into. So what were you listening to when you began playing the guitar? What were your influences at that stage?
Well, definitely Van Halen. I heard Eruption, and I was just like, oh my God, this changed my whole world. So Van Halen, and then from there I got into a lot of other 80s rock bands like Motley Crue and Poison, and things like that. And I got influenced by the hair bands. And then ironically, I was also influenced by Vixen because I was looking for some female inspiration within that genre that I was into. And really there were hardly any. Vixen was the only all girl band, there was Lita Ford. I liked Heart and the Runaways and stuff, but that was kind of a different genre I wasn't as into at the time. Um, so yeah, that was all very inspiring. But then I loved the heavier stuff. I really loved Metallica, Ozzy, Pantera, Megadeth. Those are all big influences as well.
Fantastic. So you mentioned Vixen there. We'll talk about Vixen. You joined the band in 2017. So how did that come about?
So I had moved to LA, and I was just playing, and I was doing some weird stuff because I thought that maybe I should stop touring. I was like, it wasn't a midlife crisis because I wasn't midlife, but I was just thinking like, maybe I need to make a change. LA's expensive. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I took a job at Universal Records because I had a degree in music business. And I thought maybe I should just kind of grow up and start doing that and getting involved in the business side of things. And I was doing that. And I was not thrilled with my lifestyle because you know, when you're at a desk job and it's like 9 to 6, and then you sit in traffic for 2 hours. LA traffic is terrible. I was getting home so late. I didn't have the energy to practice. I didn't have the energy to go out and network or go to the jams. And that's why I had moved to LA, for music, for more music. So I was doing that. And at the same time, I was playing in an all female Guns N' Roses tribute band, playing the Slash parts, which was really fun because that got me into playing at the Whiskey, the Viper Room, all the Sunset Strip clubs I had never played before. And then through that, I was seen by Vixen's manager, and unbeknownst to anybody else, they were looking for a guitar player. And so, just from being out on the scene there and just being active, that's kind of how that came about in
Oh.
2017.
And when you got asked, I take it was an easy decision to make.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I loved it. I went down. I actually jammed with them all down in Florida, and it was great. They were all very cool. Energy is always important too, and it kind of just felt
Yeah.
like you you knew them even though you just met them. And that was good too because the touring schedule and stuff made it difficult for the day job. So I quit that, and which needed to be done anyways. And yeah, and the rest is history. And now I also work at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, which we can talk about later too. But that is a great job for me because I don't have to report to an office, and I'm always traveling, so I can do stuff from the airports. I can do it, I'm always on my laptop because there's a lot of downtime when you travel. So it's good to be able to work. You can multitask. I can travel and work at the same time. So it works out very well for my lifestyle.
Fantastic stuff. So, just talking about Vixen, then, when you joined the band, obviously they've got a lot of classic hits. The history goes back to the 80s, that kind of thing. So, how do you go about balancing the classic sound of the band with putting or bringing your own style to it?
Well, good question. I think maybe, the gear has something to do with it. Maybe my tone is a little more modern. And then my playing, I guess, I try to be very aware of maintaining the integrity of Jan's guitar parts for sure. Because they're great. So why change them? But also, for the fans, so it sounds the same, but you can never play exactly like somebody else. And so there are things that I do naturally, maybe that I'm not even aware of, that kind of creates your own sound. And so, I think I have my own little flair when I play dance parts, but I think it's the balance comes from just being respectful of it and honoring the original parts, but then also just being yourself at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And the fun and the energy that comes through as well, isn't it, when you're on the stage, especially?
Oh, we have so
Um,
much fun.
yeah,
We do.
definitely.
We're
And
always
we're
laughing.
talking about being on stage, you've played some incredible festivals and shows, especially here in Europe. I've heard you tell stories about coming to Europe and playing some of these crazy festivals where the truly, truly heavy metal bands, or all the names are in sticks and you can't even read them and all that sort of stuff. So tell us about some of that, and how surprised you are at the reception you got alongside playing with these crazy heavy metal giants.
Yes, we played a festival in Finland, and that's one of my favorite memories because we play a lot with bands of our genre, like you know uh, wow, why am I drawing like Slaughter, Quiet Riot, Great White, all those kinds of bands, and we work, the fans are all into the same things. And so we get to this festival in Finland, and I'm like, wow, I don't know any of these bands. And we pull up to the festival, and it's like death metal, and it's heavy. And I look out, and it's pouring rain, by the way. And I look out at the little trailer, and there's like all these really big, tough guys, like waving flags, and mud is slinging because it's an outdoor festival, and it's rain, and there's mud. And I was like, whoa. I go, and I'm thinking about our ballads, like crying and stuff, and which are great songs, but they're just a little bit different than these heavy. I didn't hear any ballads going on with the other bands. Let me just say that. So I was like, "How is this gonna go over?" And all the girls were like, "I don't know, but we're gonna just do it, and it's gonna rock." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So we get out there, and I couldn't believe it. Like all these big Viking looking dudes were just singing along. I don't even know if they spoke English, but they were singing along to every word. And we're so into it. And I was just laughing pretty much the whole set because I just was like, this is awesome. I feel like I'm in a movie or something right now. Um, but I have to say, everybody over in Europe is so awesome and diehard and great fans of rock and roll. And so I enjoy playing overseas so much. I like it more than playing here in the States. And yeah, I can't wait to get back over there because it's always so fun and there's always such good energy.
Fantastic stuff. And just speaking about another concert you did recently, I saw that it was advertised. Obviously, I wasn't there. I'd like to be in Las Vegas, but you performed with Vince Neil and Stephen Pearcy, famously Rat and Motley Crue there. So how did that go down? That was just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yes, that was fun. That was an outdoor show. It was about 106 degrees in
Oh,
Las
wow.
Vegas, even in the evening when we played. So it was a hot one, but it was a lot of fun. I love playing with both those guys. I mean, hits for days. Big fan of both of their bands, and Vince is sounding so great, and Piercy's always awesome, and they've gone through, well, they have some different band members and stuff, and both the bands are just so solid, great players, and the music is just killer. So Yeah, I love playing with them. If you had told me, when I was 15, then I'd be sharing a stage with Vince Neil and Stephen Pearcy, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Fascinating stuff. I love hearing things like that. Now, there's definitely a wave of phenomenal female guitarists coming through. We mentioned Nita and the likes of Sophie Lloyd and things like that. And it's always good to see
Yeah.
this coming through. And it's important for younger people to have role models because you spoke about having or looking for female role models when you were coming through. So it is really important that people like you and Nita and Orianthi and things like that are coming through and getting the spotlight and that they deserve and getting the headlining gigs and things like that. So when it comes to the likes of the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp that you talk about, there have now been an all-female section and set of dates as well released for that. So tell me how important it is for you to make sure that females are getting the chance and younger girls are getting the chance to have people like you to look up to and inspire them.
Yeah, it's very important because, rock and roll has always kind of been a male-dominated industry, and it still is. Um, Funny enough, last night I was just watching that documentary out on Paramount Plus, Nothing But a Good Time. I don't know if you heard about that. That came out about the 80s metal scene. And, and Roxy from Vixen is on there talking and about how, the radio stations and concerts and stuff, they would only put one band with females anywhere. It's like, all the other ones have many male, band members. But if there was one female band member, then it was limited. Like there was a quota. It was like one per radio station, one per, so that's wild to me. And I'm just so grateful that we're breaking that down right now. But even at our regular rock and roll fantasy camps, there's usually about 75 people that come to a camp, and about five of them are women always. And out of 75. So I said to David Fishoff, the founder of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, I said, I think that we need to have a women's only camp. And he said, if you only get 5 women, how are you going to sell out a whole camp of women only? And I said, they're going to come because it's only women. And I think it's needed because, it can be an intimidating environment. And we've kind of been, women have kind of been influenced to think that they're not, they're not good enough. Like, for example, if I go out with my boyfriend somewhere and he's carrying my guitar, like people always think that he's the guitar player, the rock star. And then if I'm carrying it, they think I'm carrying it for him. And it's just funny. People just don't associate women with being in rock and roll. So it's very important to have this just environment that is supportive and inclusive. And the first all-female rock camp we had was in 2022. And I have to say, there's a final performance at like the Whiskey A Go-Go or the Viper Room on the last night of camp where every band gets out and plays a set. And usually at the regular camps, people are supportive, but once they get off stage, they go up to the rainbow and do shots, whatever, with their band. At the women's camp, everybody stayed. Everybody was glued to the front, supporting each other because they all kind of went through this journey together and they were all rooting for each other. So it was just a very cool, like, community vibe. And it gives me the chills talking about it because it was just so special. And everybody made friends. Everybody keeps in touch, and it's just a really great thing. And a lot of people that come to the camps too say, I'm just like a loner, and by the way, we have people that come to camp that are ages 10 to 75,
Oh, wow.
and so it's all ages, all skill levels from all over the world. People come from Europe or the States or Canada or South America, everywhere. And they say, I kind of felt alone because I don't know any other girls my age that are into this music. And, I don't know where to turn to. And so the women's camp really gives them a place to network and find like-minded people that share the same passion.
Incredible stuff. Now, for people that don't know about the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, you've kind of given us a little taste here and there. Give us a little bit more detail about what exactly it is and how people can get involved with that.
Yeah, so the motto at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is changing lives through music and making your rock star dreams come true. So you join a band for 4 days. As I mentioned, you can be any level, any age. I'm the musical director at the camps. I talk to everybody before the camp and get a vibe for their personality, experience, what they hope to get out of camp, and I place them in bands. The bands are together for 4 days, and they're mentored by a rock star counselor like Vinny Appice, the drummer for Black Sabbath and Dio, or Tony Franklin from The Firm. We have amazing counselors, Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake. And everybody, all these counselors mentor bands, and we help prepare them to jam with their musical heroes. So, for example, at this women's camp, the special guest rock stars, there's Nancy Wilson. So we prepare them to jam a heart song with Nancy. Play a song with Nita, play a song with Sheila E., play a song with, all the special guests that come through camp. And then they also get to play 2 live performances at live venues where their family and friends can come, and it's open to the public as well, so they can all watch and cheer them on. And they're on stage at a legendary venue, like I said, Whiskey or Viper Room, place like that. And then throughout the 4 days of camp, there's also jam rooms, master classes, band rehearsals, Q&A sessions with the special guests. So we really pack in a lot of activities into these 4 days. It's like full immersion. We say, hey, put your phones away, just be here, get involved in the music. And one of my favorite things that comes out of camp is people saying, I've been taking guitar lessons once a week for 4 years now, but I learned more in these 4 days than I have in 4 years, and I'm ready to go now. And some people have never even played in a band before, and now they get a taste of what it's like, and they go out and form bands in their hometown or go to auditions. They have the confidence to get out there and really do it. And then for those people that are even more advanced, like sometimes we get people that play in tribute bands of the special guests, and so they really know the music, and this just helps them to network and get to the next level. And the bonds that you create with the counselors of talent and the other campers is really it's a magical thing. I've never seen anything else like it, which is why I just dove into this and got so involved.
It does sound incredible. And when you talk about the rock star legends, I mean, I looked ahead. I think February you've got likes of Stuart Copeland and Robbie Krieger from The Doors and Jeff Skunk Baxter. And it's not just kind of people on the periphery. These are huge, huge names that are involved every single time.
They are, absolutely. And yeah, we've had Jeff Beck, we've had Joe Perry, we've had Alice Cooper, we've had Roger Daltrey from The Who, Paul Stanley, so many people. So it's awesome. And the fact that these guests keep coming back
Yeah.
is just a testimonial to how great the experience is, because they don't need to do this. They don't, but it's a really different experience. And it's not like you're meeting people. It's not like a fan meet and greet. It's like, these are musicians. So these
Hmm.
rock stars talk to you like a fellow musician, you're on the same playing field. It's like, everybody came from somewhere and they share their story, and it makes the campers feel like, well, they can do it too. They're just a normal person just like me, after hanging out with them and talking to them. And I'll never forget, one camper was freaking out. Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains came to a camp, and after all the jams and everything, he just sat down next to him and was eating a sandwich with him, and he was like, this is so weird. And Jerry's like, I eat sandwiches too, like I'm just a person like you. So but it kind of just makes everything seem possible.
Phenomenal stuff. And to find out some more information, where's the best place to go?
Yes, rockcamp.com has all of our upcoming camps, and then you can follow us at Rock Fantasy Camp on the socials.
Lovely stuff. And just quickly back to Vixen. Last year, the single came out red, didn't it? Brand new single. So is there any plans for more new material? Are we expecting anything else to come out soon?
Yes, you can. I hope by the end of the year, but I know that we're going to be recording some stuff at the end of October, early November. So hopefully we get that out soon. And yeah, we're excited to make some new music.
Excellent. And is it all brand new music, all complete originals?
Some and some not.
Fantastic. Not giving away too much there, Britt. We like that. Thank you so much for joining us here on VRP Rocks. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.